This is The Gist, the essential podcast for the discerning listener.
Welcome to The Gist. I'm John.
And I'm Mary. It is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. We are your smart friends on the go. Let's dive in.
We start with the gist view. Today, we are looking at a bizarre modern paradox. The machines calculating our climate doom are actually making the problem worse.
Exactly. Yesterday, Électricité de France, the state-owned French power utility, shut down a nuclear reactor.
Why? Because the nearby Garonne River got too hot. It crossed a 28 degrees Celsius threshold. You simply cannot cool a nuclear reactor with warm bathwater.
But here is the catch. As the Financial Times and Wired report, insurance companies are increasingly using artificial intelligence to map out these extreme weather risks.
That artificial intelligence requires massive data centers, and those servers demand huge amounts of power from the exact same grids that are failing in the heat.
It is like turning up the air conditioning with the windows open. You feel cool for a minute, but you eventually burn out the engine.
So, who benefits here? Financial firms. They get incredibly precise pricing on disaster risks. This helps them allocate their capital efficiently.
But it creates an illusion of control. Software innovation is racing ahead. Meanwhile, hardware resilience, like our physical power grids, lags far behind.
The physical reality of warming is now disrupting the climate sector itself.
Right. Record-breaking extreme heat just forced London Climate Action Week to move its events entirely online. You really cannot make this up.
Moving to the global overview. Let's talk about the massive SpaceX IPO.
SpaceX finally went public on June 12th. They raised $75 billion, but the stock is currently slipping below its $150 opening price.
The turbulence comes from a planned acquisition. SpaceX wants to buy an artificial intelligence startup called Cursor for $60 billion, and they want to pay entirely in stock.
Investors are balking. They bought into SpaceX for physical aerospace assets. They want rockets and satellites. They do not want their shares diluted just to integrate digital software.
It is a clear clash of resource flows. Investors want hard assets right now, not more artificial intelligence hype.
Speaking of artificial intelligence hype, we are seeing a massive capital expenditure boom in the United States.
Bloomberg reports companies are pouring billions into artificial intelligence infrastructure. Jason Thomas at the Carlyle Group points out something interesting about this trend.
He notes that inflation is keeping nominal GDP growth very high. Nominal GDP is just a country's economic output without adjusting for inflation.
Because of this high baseline, holding Federal Reserve interest rates steady actually acts as a stimulus. It keeps the money flowing into long-term corporate infrastructure.
Finally, a political power shift in the United States. The Bronx congressional primaries just wrapped up.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani noted that moderate Democrats successfully outflanked progressives. The Wall Street Journal backs up this trend.
Institutional leverage is moving. It is shifting away from ideological disruption and rotating back toward basic operational stability. Voters just want systems to work.
Now, for the European perspective, let's head to Italy.
Massive news there today. The Guardia di Finanza, Italy's militarized financial police, just uncovered 20 billion euros in green building fraud.
Italian newspaper Il Sole 24 Hour reports authorities have already seized 10 billion euros.
This shows exactly what happens when a state floods a market with fast cash. The government prioritised speed to avoid a post-pandemic recession.
So who benefits? Sophisticated rent-seeking networks. When you pump money out fast, savvy insiders figure out how to game the compliance rules. They siphon off the wealth.
But here is the uncomfortable truth. The scheme actually worked. It violently stimulated construction. It stopped a deeper recession. The fraud was essentially treated as the cost of doing business.
Over in Brussels, the European Commission is proposing a €180 million sovereign cloud initiative. Politico has the details.
This targets Europol, the European Union's law enforcement agency. The new cloud lets them process cross-border digital crime data on their own servers.
They will not have to rely on commercial tech giants like Amazon or Microsoft. Europe is physically insulating its core security infrastructure.
In Germany, the digital border debate is heating up. The family minister wants to ban social media for kids under 13.
But an expert commission pushed back. They told German broadcaster ZDF to wait for an European Union-wide framework instead.
National regulators love localised bans. It makes them look immediately responsive to worried parents.
But domestic digital borders are like building a fence to stop a rainstorm. Tech capital flows across borders. You need supranational rules to actually regulate it.
Lastly, a scandal for the AfD. That is Alternative for Germany, a right-wing populist party.
Politico surfaced a 2020 photo of Martin Reichert. He is an AfD member of the German Federal Parliament. In the photo, he is performing a Hitler salute.
This creates a hard structural barrier. When overt extremist signalling happens, centre-right factions have to recalculate the reputational cost of working with them. It keeps the AfD locked out of institutional integration.
That brings us to the end of today's show. Here is today's temperature. Software is writing checks the physical world cannot cash.
Exactly. French rivers are boiling under the weight of artificial intelligence risk models. Investors are rejecting SpaceX's digital pivots. Hard physics is finally reasserting its dominance over digital dreams.
We will be back tomorrow to track the flows of power and capital. If you found today's breakdown useful, we would love for you to join our daily newsletter. It is completely free, reader-supported, and the subscribe link is right there in your show notes.
Thanks for listening. Stay sharp out there.
The Gist, News Digest, and podcast are entirely written and produced by artificial intelligence. The Gist is out 3 times a day, every day, providing you with a liberal perspective on what to expect next. For more information and donations, visit thegist.online. Thank you for listening.